Boom, baby. Got to take a break from my responsibilities because Oklahoma gets another wide receiver commitment out of the transfer portal. We told y'all as fans, and I had to remind myself of this as well because it's easy to get caught up in the moment. But you had to wait. Oklahoma, they were going to do their thing. And, well, just in a couple days, they've rattled off 3 wide receiver commitments, 2 offensive line commitments. They've got a quarterback on campus. Things are starting to shape together. So we're not going to bury the lead. Isaiah Sategna joins the Oklahoma Sooners. We got to talk about the impact that I think he can have on Oklahoma, what this means here, and talk about the other maybe 1 or 2 spots that could be left, who could take those spots. And then I want to talk to you guys about some of the other targets that Oklahoma's gotten and why it's important, because I think a lot of us Oklahoma fans are missing something here. So join the discussion, jump in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think. If you're new to the channel, wipe your feet, hit that like, hit the subscribe button. Listen, it's completely free for you to subscribe to this channel, and it really helps us as content creators out a lot. So do us a favor, hit that like and hit that subscribe button. But we got to start out with the good news. Isaiah Sategna is committed to the Oklahoma Sooners. And if you guys have been watching the show, this maybe isn't news to you because we've talked a lot about this kid. 5'11", 185 pounds, originally from Fayetteville, Arkansas, was playing at the Arkansas Razorbacks over the past couple of seasons. Last year, 37 receptions, 490 yards, 1 touchdown. He even had an 88-yard punt return for a touchdown. So he's a sophomore. He'll have 2 years of eligibility left. He's actually a redshirt sophomore. He'll have 2 years of eligibility left. And I want Oklahoma fans to understand this, especially as we talk about some of these portal commitments that Oklahoma's gotten. Remember, they're replacing guys that have entered the portal that, although their ceilings might have been high, the production here at Oklahoma has not been high, right? So for, say, Nick Anderson, right? Oklahoma went out there and got a guy like Giovanni Gibson, who's 6'3", 205 pounds, super productive season last year. 1,215 yards, 9 touchdowns, 70 receptions. Nick Anderson had a really great year in 23. I think we can all admit that. But in year 1 and year 3 with Oklahoma, he was a non-factor. Being able to see the field, your availability is the best thing about you as a player. And so you have to look at it and say, although we love Nick Anderson for the year he gave us in 23, sometimes you have to look at the upside of having a guy that has a lot of production, even if it's at a lower school, and knowing this is going to be a guy that can be consistent for you on the field. And that's what you get in a guy like Giovanni Gibson. Isaiah Sategna at 5'11", right? Although he's under 500 receiving yards, you're having to replace a Jaquez Petaway who hit the portal, a Brennan Thompson who hit the portal, right? Although Jaquez Petaway really has not given you any production since coming to Oklahoma, Brennan Thompson gave you quite a bit. Shout out to the Thompson family if they see this. 230 yards, 2 touchdowns. But, you know, again, availability is your best, I guess, thing about you as a football player. And there's been times where Brennan Thompson hasn't been able to see the field because of injuries. And I hope wherever he goes, I hope he balls out. But Isaiah Sategna, a very similar build, a very similar type of player to these guys, right? He's been able to be on the field every single year he's been at Arkansas outside of the year they redshirted him, which isn't because he was hurt. You look at a guy they bring in like Keontez Lewis. Okay, well, you've also got to replace a guy like Andrell Anthony and Jalil Farouk who hit the portal. All right? 6'2", 190 pounds. He's been on the field 2 out of his 3 years that he's been able to see the field in his college career. 49 receptions, 709 yards, 5 touchdowns last year. You look at the guys that Oklahoma's taking to the portal, and although they come from lower-end schools, they are guys that can consistently be on the field for you, and they have a proven track record for it. And as an Oklahoma fan, that's where we should feel optimistic about some of these guys that are committing to Oklahoma. So you look at a guy like Isaiah Sategna with 37 receptions, 491 yards, and 1 touchdown. If he can just give you that same production, I just want everybody to think about this. If you can get the same production from Sategna that you got last year, and for a guy like Giovanni Gibson, if he can just give you 800 yards receiving, and not even 9 touchdowns, just give you 5 touchdowns, right? And then you look at a guy like Keontez Lewis. Give me 600 yards and your 5 touchdowns. And then you go out there and you grab one more dude out of the portal, and that one dude you grab out of the portal gets you another 500 yards and, let's say, 4 to 5 touchdowns, right? Are we all in agreement Oklahoma's a 10-win team this year? Are we all in agreement that's what would have probably been Oklahoma's record? 100%. So that's how I look at this. The guys that Oklahoma's bringing in the portal, they provide tremendous value by being able to be on the field. So some of these guys that Oklahoma could be looking at now, kind of going on past the 3 guys that they've brought in, Javonte Gibson, Isaiah Sategna, and Keontez Lewis, who I think all 3 of those guys are going to be studs. They've got 2 guys with size. They've got 1 guy that speed can slide into the slot. Well, who do you go get? There's a couple big names out there. Obviously, you've got Zachariah Branch. A lot of Oklahoma fans are watching that one. If you're an Oklahoma fan, don't give your hopes up. But you do have a guy like Devontae Ross, the 5'11", 161-pound junior, who will have, I think, 1 year of eligibility left, 76 receptions, 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns last year. Big-time wide receiver out of Troy. He's a guy that a lot of teams across the country would probably like to have on their squad. He's good, even if he's not in the starting rotation, he's going to be a good rotational piece. Then you look at a guy like Jaron Bradley, where although it seems like this is trending away from Oklahoma, at 6'5", 222 pounds, that plays for you in the SEC. And although this year he only had 6 receptions for 94 yards and 2 touchdowns, previous years, 36 receptions, 431 yards, 4 touchdowns. In 22, 51 receptions, 744 yards, and 6 touchdowns. I look at the future of this wide receiver position for Oklahoma, and I understand Emmett Jones is a good evaluator of talent. Emmett Jones has been a good developer of talent, even at the lower schools like Kansas and Texas Tech. So I have faith that even though he can go out there into the portal, grab some of these guys from these lower end schools, develop them, and make them good players. I think for Oklahoma, you're just looking for guys that have that athletic ability. You're looking for guys that have the size and have the speed. And then you can work with the rest. You can figure it out, especially if you have a quarterback like John Mateer, who's going to be a gunslinger in the backfield. So you look at some of those targets that Oklahoma could be going after, and then obviously they don't have to fill the last 2 spots or 1 spot at Oklahoma at the wide receiver position right now. They can wait a little bit. Like, I think a lot of Oklahoma fans, we want to get a little too impatient with this, but they can wait till after the bowl games, after the playoffs. What if Ohio State has some wide receiver exodus up there, right? You never know. So maybe they wait a little bit longer. Maybe they wait till the second transfer portal cycle to take another guy. Maybe they try to, hope a guy like Elijah Thomas can come in and make an impact for you right away, which I'm assuming he will. So just keep that in mind, Oklahoma fans. But big news, Isaiah Sategna commits to the University of Oklahoma, adds some more wide receiver depth to a room that has been completely dismantled this offseason. But I want to hear from you. So join the discussion, jump in the comments below, and give me your thoughts.